Hey, Jamey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for that. I don't understand Portuguese, but you were pointing at Wyrmspan there. Looked like you were pretty excited about it.
It's pretty enthusiastic with that. Again, Jamey, thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk to you. Everybody is very, very excited today. Wyrmspan, we just had a board game festival 2 weeks ago here in the Lisbon area. Diver already had an advanced copy. They were demoing it. Everybody had a blast. Pre-orders went well. It's in retail. Everybody is very, very excited and familiarized with the game. But we have some questions. So how does this conversation start? So you have this huge hit called Wingspan. Connie Vogelman comes out with the idea for Apiary, which you guys knocked it out of the park. I think the production is absolutely stellar. But getting to an IP that already exists and saying, I have ideas, that's a really different conversation.
Yeah, and it was one that started internally. Wingspan has done very, very well. It seems to have brought a lot of joy to people. And we want to respect that people have a lot of different games on their shelves. As I can see behind you, you have so many games there, and so we thought we want to be very intentional about this if we do want to expand this brand. And why don't we think about making a game that's a little heavier than Wingspan with a different theme, and a game that's maybe a little lighter than Wingspan with a different theme. We'll talk about that one in the future, but the heavier one, we debated between dinosaurs and dragons, ended up going with dragons.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I reached. Yeah, it was a close between those two. Would you have had a preference? What would you have chosen?
Oh, absolutely, dragons. There's a curse upon me from another gamer here in Portugal because I'm an admirer of Wingspan, but birds is not my thing. It's just a matter of theme. But Wyrmspan, when it came out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is for me. Absolutely. Dinosaurs would have worked, but dragons, take my money.
That's where I am too. I like both of them, but I do lean towards dragons. And I went to Elizabeth with that. I proposed the idea. I knew that Elizabeth, she's very busy. She has a number of other games in the works right now, and Wingspan expansion. So I proposed the idea that we work with Connie, who, like you said, I had worked with her on Apiary. Connie's local to Elizabeth, so she knows Connie. She knows how wonderful she is. And Elizabeth was very gracious to say that she'll work as a developer on it to make sure the game is excellent, that lives up to Wingspan's legacy, but that Connie would be the lead designer on the game. And Connie accepted it as well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was very involved, obviously, with the game, and so now I have a problem.
How so?
This is going to happen. So now I have to see the original. So very excited about that. Let me just reference that Diver here in Portugal already has the local version. Again, we're giving out a copy on Instagram, so guys, don't miss out on that. But Wyrmspan, how many countries, or not countries? How many languages has this been translated to?
I believe it's just over a dozen at this point. Wingspan has over 30, so it's truly on tabletops around the world, and we're hoping we'll get there with Wyrmspan as well.
Yeah, and Wingspan, just jumping around on. This is weird saying this in English to a Portuguese audience, but guys, jvitoria.com, all the links of the conversation with Jamey today are online on WordPress. And piggybacking on that, so Wingspan is not finished. So there's an expansion 4 in Q something 2020 something. That's down on the list, so there's a lot of work to do. But man, this is a very packed schedule.
It's packed, but it's as you can see, there's a lot of question marks there because we try to spread things out. We try to only release 1 or 2 new games a year and maybe 1 or 2 expansions. So we're kind of planning probably around 3 or 4 years out at this point with some of the games on this list.
Yeah. Is this like a post-pandemic thing that you have to plan it out a lot further ahead because of all the logistics and all the issues that came post pandemic?
I think we started doing it before the pandemic, but it has helped to plan ahead in that way. And really, the main thing the pandemic did to me in that respect, among many other things, but was to try to get a little bit ahead of schedule, because who knows what happens with freight shipping. Freight shipping was a little wild during the pandemic. So I would rather have a game ready to go in one of our fulfillment centers than even a few weeks out, because that few weeks may end up being a few months unexpectedly.
Yeah, there's a lot of unforeseeable things in the industry, but a couple of foreseeable things is the transformation of the climate change is a big issue. And I've been reading around, and you write a lot, obviously. Stonemaier Games has this very huge commitment to using responsible materials. Let's call it that. How challenging is that when you're producing games thousands of miles away?
Oh, it's challenging on many levels. Part of it is what you're referring to there. The facility that makes the games is far away from me. I don't have direct control over it. I have to trust our manufacturer in the way that they assemble our games, the sources from which they supply the wood, the cardboard, things like that. There's also the freight shipping, the environmental impact of freight shipping around the world. And manufacturing anything, I understand that we are making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of games. There's nothing that we can do that can completely remove that impact on the environment. So what we can do is hopefully make some responsible choices about the types of materials we use and what we put into our games to minimize that impact a little bit, while still hopefully providing a really fun experience at the tabletop. As you have Wyrmspan behind you, there's plastic in Wyrmspan. There are a few plastic bags, there are a few plastic containers, but I don't want the eggs rolling around all over on the table. So
yeah,
there's a balance there.
Obviously, I was talking with a local team from De Veer here in Portugal. They came out with Salt and Sea, which is a very heavily packed box, and they're also down that track. Let's be responsible. Let's use as little plastic as we can. So they had stickers on it, but the game was so heavy that it just wouldn't take, and they had to shrink wrap. And shrink wrap is a big issue. So, and Andre was saying this in chat. How is that specific quest with shrink wrap coming along? Because that's one of the main issues.
I absolutely agree. It's been kind of the bane of my sustainable existence for the last 12 years, because there's plastic in games that we actually use. It's still not great, but we're using miniatures. We use fancy little inserts and trays. But the shrink wrap on cards and the exterior of a game, we just throw away, and it can't be recycled. It's going to be there for hundreds of years. So right now we're focusing. The exterior is tough. Right now we're focusing on changing the interior. Like when you wrap cards, a big deck of cards, we're switching entirely over to paper for that. That's a little bit easier. And we've tried a bunch of things. Even right next to me, I have a sample that we tested out of an exterior packaging with like a tearaway label. You tear away a little label. So this is all cardboard. This would act as the shrink wrap with the game content printed here, but this whole external part would be disposable and recyclable, and then you pull the game out.
Oh, that's interesting.
But we found that we couldn't.
Probably what's like what tech companies are doing a lot with that tearaway, especially Apple.
Exactly. Yeah, Apple's doing it.
That's interesting.
We have not found a way to automate this though. So we have to be able to automate it, I think, opposed to having individual people insert the game into this wrapper. So there are challenges that go with automation as well.
Cool. Well, that's an ongoing process, obviously, and there's always innovation. I'm going to bounce around here a little bit because you're always on top of what's going on. One of my favorite things outside of the games that you're doing is content. I think it's very, very interesting that you go over what's available in the market, and you'll go over your favorite mechanisms in games. this is something, well, at least to my knowledge, I don't know anybody else that is designing games that is doing this kind of content. You have so much on your plate. Why is this important to you to keep on producing this content and talking about your favorite mechanisms from other authors? And recently you did a top 10 non-Stonemaier games we may have published. This is a huge commitment to making games, being responsible with production, and also producing content.
Well, I appreciate the way that you said that, because you know, as a content creator, how much time it takes. Even just, like, it's not like we just turn on the camera and go. There's a lot of thought that goes into preparing for what we talk about on camera, and also fielding comments and all the stuff that comes afterwards too. So it is a time commitment that I think about, but I really enjoy it. I learn so much from playing other games, and I process it best if I can actually talk about it afterwards. And so it's both me filming, these little 5-minute videos about games, but also hearing what people think in the comments and learning from their perspectives that I think makes me a better designer. And that's one of the reasons why I continue to do it.
As a consumer, it also makes me very curious on what is down the road for Stonemaier Games and future games. So obviously, everybody is always on top of what's going on with the industry. So Vantage is right now at number 1 at the hotness list on Board Game Geek. I think this is absolutely fascinating that you have so much coming out. Wyrmspan just came out. Expansions are on the way. You announce a game with 0 pieces of art and 0 information, and this is already number 1. So it's how the industry works, but also must be very satisfying to Stonemaier Games being in a position that you announce something and people are automatically very interested.
It is satisfying. It's flattering, and it's an honor that people would be interested in something that we're creating. I know there are many other creators out there that maybe don't have that privilege, and I try to take that responsibility seriously. This is a project that I've been working on for 7 years now, and I've been itching to talk about it, be a little bit more open about it. Even though we're about a year out, we're still in kind of the blind playtesting right before pre-production stages of the game, or before graphic design, really. But I've been to graphic design yet. But I appreciate people being open to me talking about it, and I've actually shared on the website there. I already have like an FAQ page. I have a design diary post up, so I have even more than I thought I would have revealed already. But there is a lot more to talk about and reveal, and I'll be spending the next year doing that if people want to pay attention to it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to dig deep into that. Obviously, you'll be releasing the information when you think it's the right time, obviously. But I saw that you liked some mechanism from the Seventh Citadel, and I'm kind of curious to see if that will, in some shape or form, make its way into Vantage. But I will be patient and wait for more information. Now, what's really around the corner, and people have been asking a lot of questions, Expeditions. I saw it the first time last year at a UK Games Expo in Birmingham. Huge success. Top 3 game for most people in 2023. And right now, some art has been revealed for the expansion, and we're almost there. So what can you tell us about the Expeditions expansion?
Well, I haven't revealed exact dates yet, but I'll make you the first to know the exact dates. So I plan on doing the full reveal, which for us now, when I do a full reveal, it involves the full rule book. So anyone who wants to dig deep into that rule book right away from day one, they can do so. That'll be on May 22nd. And then if freight shipping concludes well, we will do the launch of it on our web store a few weeks later. I can't speak to the release of other languages. That's entirely up to our localization partners, but that's the plan for the English release. The game itself, I'll hold off most of the details until then, but it is an expansion that adds a few things. It's mostly a more stuff expansion, but it adds also a new mechanism that I think people were asking for after I released the original game. And there's a few things that I would say, are fixes. I don't like to lean on an expansion for fixes, but if I have the opportunity to make the game a little better, I'll take it. And I think some of the things that I've added will cater to that.
Okay, great. Thank you for the firsthand information right here. We'll be sharing, obviously, the interview later on YouTube, so people can, well, since it's not in Portuguese, more people can see it, obviously. So I know you're a little bit tight on time. I have one last question. You have been a huge advocate of not using AI, and this has been like a very big topic in a lot of industries. There was some controversy last year, not to get too much into that, with at Essen, that they did artwork for their brand communication on AI. Myself, I lean on it heavily. Being a solo content creator, it helps a lot. But your perspective is a little bit different, and obviously the situation. So where do you draw the line on all these new technologies?
Well, so where I currently am, and I wrote a blog post about this recently, which I think you're referring to a little bit, is that I wasn't trying to take a stance on it for other people. I was just kind of sharing that it isn't something that has interested me to this point, whether using it for text or art. And I feel like I'm getting to the point where wherever I go to any website, it's probably on Twitch somewhere, I can click a button and it's asking me to do something with AI. And I keep seeing it, and I haven't found a reason to click that button yet. I'm more interested in the human creation side of things. However, I do understand, and I hear your perspective on it, and I think this will evolve over time. 20 years from now, who knows what will exist? 20 years ago, we didn't have the internet. I was using AOL dial-up, so I could never have imagined that I could be talking to you face-to-face live like this. So there's a lot to come in the future that I'm open to learning from. But as of now, I'm not interested in AI art. I'm not interested in AI text, and I'm happy to support the artist for Wyrmspan. He made over 200 illustrations, over 1,600 illustrations in Vantage. So that's where I am right now.
Totally agree with that. It's a tool. We will get there. We'll figure it out in all industries, obviously. But I'm a huge fan of Jakub Rosalski. So that's something you only get with human interaction. So, Jamey, I know you have to get to another commitment. One last thing. It is, and I think it has to be like very satisfying to be a part of the Beatles of board games. So this was the first thing that I saw when I got to Birmingham last year. I met up with Ice and Dice, and he has a Lacerda and Stegmaier and Rosenberg and Phillips t-shirt, which I had to take a picture of and publish it. This is just absolutely awesome, and may I say, in great company.
I'm blushing seeing that, because I see those names, and I feel like these are people that I idolize. That I've had the potential to opportunity to speak with a few of them in person, to meet a few of them, and they're incredible designers. I don't think I deserve to be on that list, but I'm honored that I'm on a shirt, and I'm honored that you would take a photo of it. So thank you.
And as you know, I disagree. I think you belong on that shirt and on many shirts, and I'm sure everybody at chat will agree with that. And on that note, Jamey, I would talk with you for another hour, but I know you're pressed with time. Again, thank you so much for making time for this convo, and all the best, man. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. Let's do it again sometime. I really would enjoy doing this again. So thank you for the invitation.
Okay. Thanks, Jamey. See you soon then.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.